Good morning and welcome to the Crypto Day Morning. Today's date is in that of Saturday, the 29th day of December 2018. All bets, trades of the like within one's own each risk and their own reward. Let's get started within the Bitcoin price and chart as it managed to establish this level of resistance and has came back down to the 18 average of lows. An attempt to revert this downtrend into that of an uptrend. This is a newly rising 18. Yesterday's price action rose up to the 18 highs. I talked about the possible failed breakdown, fast move higher, and getting above here, as I was stating, I think there's a good chance that it makes a higher high, and we'll be looking at testing a level of resistance in near that of 5,000 per coin. The failed breakdown viewing that via the 4-hour time frame was breaking this level of support in here, and then this little failed breakdown, so you can draw a little cup formation, gets back to the congestion area move or area really fast. It did it here, and then soon thereafter that, notice that there's a good chance if there's a fast move after it, it's gonna break out. But if you can see something like it's supporting its resistance, which is what it's doing in here, and it could even support a little bit lower and still be doing such, then that gives you a good reason that this thing can be ready to go. Because when I say fast move, generally speaking on the failed breakdowns, the move to congestion area is generally more oftentimes faster to get here than it is to break out. But it's been now 5-6 periods, so if a breakout fast move is going to happen, you would think it would be relatively fast within the next 3, 4 or so 5 periods, or within the day. More times than not on the failed move, more often than that, fast move opposite direction. A couple coins that were up that might be ready for a correctionary move. Strat went straight up from the 166 handle up to the 419, so therefore doing a 2.5x move. Since then we can see multiple red candles down in a row, 3 good ones within it. It's now having its correctionary phase within the 18 average. When we look at this on a shorter term time frame, it's it's basically running out of momentum more than anything. It's had 2 tests to get things back going again. Test number 1 in here, as it was able to get to the highs, but it rejected such, and then again in here resisting it. But now we're looking as if short term that it's ready to break down from this and maybe test some of this previous level. And hopefully for long people wanting to be long on this, and I'll be one of them, that from this low here it's able to make some sort of higher low. And I'd like to see it hold where it came from. So the upper end of that would be roughly around here, and the lower end would be in this area here. So if it could manage to hold this general area on any correctionary moves, and you see momentum lifting off from there, then that to me says that this is looking like a successful move. If it doesn't need much of a correction, it's had an okay one now. It looks as if we might be at least having a test of this 18 lows or previous resistance. But if it doesn't and it starts to break through on any time, which means 4 hours have to get above this and do its thing there, and amongst the single hour time frame break some of this downtrend as well, then there's definite good reason for potential moves breaking out even higher and maybe testing some other areas like this previous level of resistance here, because we've already tested this support and now it's in the possible correctionary mode. And longer term, looking at the weekly chart, you see the decline, band flattening out. This is a case of now stage number 3, or stage number 2 rather, establishing the resistance, now possibly coming to stage 3, the correctionary move. And then of course if it can lift off from there, that's what you need on a successful basically correction. And then breaking it above there is a lot of reason for excitement, because if it does that, you could be talking about going to like 80 or 140 or even making new highs. And this previous high was 20 times higher than where this line is, so multiple folds up. NLC2, we're talking another one with multiple fold moves. 376 right now, and maybe it's a little too early to start calling this a possible correction, but within the 4-hour time frame, support, and it can still possibly hold and stay above this level if it's able to regain this move really fast. But obviously any type of uptrend lines you draw here are starting to break, and maybe at best this thing might get more neutral and maybe start some sort of sideways range, but there's definitely reason to believe that it could possibly have some of this empty space get filled. And like any market that breaks out, I want to see it hold a key level. And this little area here, 210, is, I mean, supposedly if it comes down there, I guess it could work, but I really would like to see it hold somewhere in this little area here. If there's going to be a pullback between 250 and 300, a little bit above it. And when you think about a move, oh yeah, 250 is a quick move, 420. That's like losing 40%. But in this game of cryptos, that's like very little. Next up is PivX, which has a lot of these nice little spikes in here. You got this little wick here. Got one in here. Some nice days in here. This day. A little small one here. Nice one here. Nice one in here. And now this move that has taken place from point low to point high to correctionary mode, the 18 average of such starting to lift off, and it's already given back some of its move to the previous high within today's session. Switching over to the 4-hour chart, and I'll also switch over to the Binance chart as well. Both prices relatively the same, so there happens to be no arbitrage that is available right now. So let's scroll it back. Yeah, you might have seen this before. This had a high of 1636 handle and a low of 515. So opportunities for buying. I was only able to buy a small amount in here. I didn't get anywhere near the lower levels. But throwing that part aside in here, let's take a look at this from this correctionary mode, because these moves happened fast. 2-hour periods going up, and this is just very normal amongst the crypto space. Maybe this was a little slower because it took 4 good 15-minute periods. It oftentimes might take 2 good 5-minute periods, or 3-minute or 1-minute periods, meaning they can go up in like 2, 4, 5 minutes, and that's the move. In this case, a little under an hour. It is now corrected within the 18, first via that of price, now via that of time. We may be having to see a little bit of a further correction again, but like every single breakout, yeah, I want to see it hold. But it's already done that in the sense of you come up here, it's held the 18. Okay, well, it can still make a higher low. So that's really what I want to see. I want to see the 18 average, hold the move, and breaking out above this could be dynamic. And that move coming up to this level of resistance, that's that situation I mentioned that I'm never a fan of when it goes straight up to this point in here. Because one of the things you could get is it could be a key top, and we could be seeing prices below 15 or around such later on. That's always a possibility. And there's a good possibility this thing wasn't even going to be resistance. The next thing you know, you go to the 24 handle, the 26, and maybe over the 30, and relatively fast. And then sometimes maybe you just have a little bit of sideways correction or very small corrections, and maybe a normal standard one back in here. And that's all the type of corrections you're going to get. So maybe that's the situation. But when you have a good level here, like this uptrend that's been going on recently to this high, you make the support where it came from. Well, now you want to see that, well, where did it come from here? And that's as deep in here. And if it does such, moves higher, then the trend continues. And in this spot here, because of how big this resistance is, it'd be a pretty phenomenal move breaking above it. And let's move on next to Komodo, which is 208 on Bittrex, 209 on Binance. No arbitrage available, at least not at this time. But this setup in this pattern is looking so magnificent. Level of resistance in here was hit multiple times. And then you got this area here where we've got above it yesterday, above it today. And when we look at this, say, on a weekly chart, it's a decent level of resistance, just in the 21.5 or so ballpark area. Band has gone flat. Resistance has not been established, so we've only had stage 1 of any type of reversal amongst this time frame. So any kind of decent breakout, which basically is 26-ish minimum, I would prefer to see closer to 29 or higher, and of higher up to maybe 34. We're getting past 34, although it's fine to keep going higher. That's a little, anything higher is too high for established resistance. It's just in crazy mode if it goes above that. But within the daily term, as I'm seeing everything laying in within the 18 as it is, how it spent it from December the 6th through the 19th, its breakout on the 20th, how it's corrected it through time up until the 26th, and how the last 3 days of what now looking at the stage of breaking out above these levels of resistance, holding the 18 average really well. And I want to go to the this chart frame here, and this level of resistance at 21.46. That was originally a sell order, which I have moved higher, and so far I'm glad I have, because where would I put a sell or buy order back? Well, probably at minimum like 18.50, or maximum, meaning anything at that or lower. But I've instead put a sell order decently above it. I mean, not because one of the things within chart analysis, when you have a significant break, and I think it's best to just show a lot of movement on the 4-hour here, that you're probably going to have a decent size leg higher. So just going up to, like, say in here, I don't think so. So I'm going to be looking to go for some very aggressive sell signals. Again, I'd be looking for around the 28 level, because I think it's got the potential on the break, given what I'm seeing, to do such an event. And I'm going to finish this off within silver and talking about hockey. Silver just continuing its great move, and I'll be looking forward next week, as it's not uncommon to end the year, start the year with these rallies, so it's doing it again. So I'll be looking forward to seeing how this thing progresses into next week. In this area of around the high 14s, down to about 14 3/4 is where I'd be looking for possible support. For hockey, I'll be doing a video later on for the night games. I do have 3 NHL and an international selection for this afternoon's games, and they are available in the more information box. Have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.